The other night I was invited out for a night with the girls. I told my husband that I would be home by midnight. I promise. Well, the hours passed and the margaritas went down way too easy. Around 3 a.m., a bit blitzed, I headed for home. Just as I got in the door, the cuckoo clock in the hall started up and cuckooed 3 times. Quickly realizing my husband would probably wake up, I cuckooed another 9 times. I was really proud of myself for coming up with such a quick-witted solution, even when totally smashed. In order to escape a possible conflict with him, the next morning my husband asked me what time I got in, and I told him midnight. He didn't seem disturbed at all. Phew, got away with that one. Then he said, "We need a new cuckoo clock." When I asked him why, he said, "Well, last night our clock cuckooed 3 times, then said, oh, crap, cuckooed 4 more times, cleared its throat, cuckooed another 3 times, giggled, cuckooed twice more, and then tripped over the cat and farted." 2 women stumbling home from the pub are forced to take an emergency stop in the graveyard on the way home. The first uses her knickers to wipe and then drops them in the bin with the funeral flowers. The other uses a wreath from a new grave. The next day their husbands meet up and the first says, "I think that my wife may have cheated on me. She passed out face down on the bed when she got home and she had no knickers on." The other guy says, "My wife passed out too and there was a card stuck between her ass cheeks that said, 'We'll never forget you. With love from all the lads at the fire station.'" An old man calls his son and says, "Listen, your mother and I are getting divorced. 45 years of misery is enough." "Dad, what are you talking about?" the son screams. "We can't stand the sight of each other any longer," he says. "I'm sick of her face, and I'm sick of talking about this. So call your sister and tell her," and he hangs up. Now, the son is worried. He calls his sister. She says, "Like hell they're getting divorced." She calls their father immediately. "You're not getting divorced. Don't do another thing. The 2 of us are flying home tomorrow to talk about this. Until then, don't call a lawyer, don't file a paper. Do you hear me?" She hangs up the phone. The old man turns to his wife and says, "Okay, they're both coming for Christmas and paying their own airfares." Heard this joke countless times, but with 2 grown kids who hope we'll foot their holiday airfare, hits different now. A woman goes to buy a parrot and notices the prices are $100, $200, and $15. Curious, she asks why the last one is so cheap. The shopkeeper replies that one used to live in a brothel. Amused, she decides to buy it for $15. When she brings the parrot home, it immediately says, "Well, I'll be damned, a new brothel." The woman can't help but laugh. Later, when her daughters arrive home, the parrot chirps, "Well, look at that, 2 new ladies of the night." The girls burst into laughter too. But when the dad walks in, the parrot exclaims, "Well, I'll be damned, Pete." Long time no see. Rodney Dangerfield has a great little bit about owning a parrot. He said he figured his wife was cheating on him because every time he would come home from work the parrot would squawk quick, out the window. "I told my wife, I won the Leslie Nielsen Prize at the office today." Her, "What's that?" Me, "It's a place where people go to work, but that's not important right now." Surely you can't be serious. "My wife left me because she said I'm too insecure." Never mind, she's back. She just went to pee. Op is a golden retriever. An old man is at passport control in Paris. He is going through his bag for his passport which he can't find. The irritated woman on passport control asks him, "Have you visited France before?" "Yes," replied the old man. Sarcastically she responds, "Well, surely you should know to have your passport ready." To which he answers, "I didn't have to show it last time." "Impossible," she bellowed. The old man looks her straight in the eye and says, "Last time, when I landed on D-Day on the 6th of June 1944, I couldn't find a fucking Frenchman to give it to." An old German is going through customs at the French border. When the agent asked him occupation, he replied, "Not this time." A Brit is going through Australian customs. They ask him if he's ever been convicted of a crime. He's surprised and responds, "I didn't think that was still required." During a visit to the mental asylum, I asked the director, "How do you determine whether or not a patient should be institutionalized?" "Well," said the director, "we fill up a bathtub, then we offer a teaspoon, a teacup and a bucket to the patient and ask him or her to empty the bathtub. Oh, I understand, I said. A normal person would use the bucket because it's bigger than the spoon or the teacup. No, said the director, a normal person would pull the bathtub drain plug. Do you want a bed near the window? A doctor at an insane asylum decided to take his patients to a baseball game. For weeks in advance, he coached his patients to respond to his commands. When the day of the game arrived, everything went quite well. As the national anthem started, the doctor yelled, "Up nuts," and the patients complied by standing up. After the anthem, he yelled, "Down nuts," and they all sat back down in their seats. After a home run was hit, the doctor yelled, "Cheer nuts." They all broke out into applause and cheered. When the umpire made a particularly bad call against the star of the home team, the doctor yelled, "Boo nuts," and they all started booing and catcalling. Comfortable with their response, the doctor decided to go get a beer and a hot dog, leaving his assistant in charge. When he returned, there was a riot in progress. Finding his missing assistant, the doctor asked, "What in the world happened?" The assistant replied, "Well, everything was going just fine until this guy walked by and yelled, 'Peanuts.'" Thanks for watching.